So 2 years ago today, Netflix released what can only be labelled as an absolute work of art in the form of Cyberpunk Edgerunners. It was something we anime fans didn't even know we needed at that time. It was unique, original, beautiful, and most of all, tragic. Like, its unique soundtrack, original art paired with its stunning fight scenes made Cyberpunk Edgerunners many people's favourite anime of 2022. Which is actually incredible to think about when you consider the fact that same year we had Chainsaw Man, Spy X Family, and Attack on Titan the final season part 2. It's a story that follows two individuals, Lucy and David, who in this high-tech, fast-paced digital world seek nothing more than connection and purpose. However, tragically, it's this connection that will ultimately bring about their downfall. David is a street punk looking for some proof that in this digital hellscape where the rich rise and the poor sink, that he is somehow special. He's looking for some reason and purpose for the life that he has been given. David was born to a single mother with nothing of her own. He was dirt poor and bullied by the rich kids that went to school with him. And overall, he and his mother were considered nothing but worthless individuals by anyone middle class and above. However, after his mother was left to die on the side of the road, he donned the spinal implant that she stole from her job. This allowed him to get revenge on his bullies and ultimately destroy the shitty life that he was living. He then eventually met this girl Lucy, the beauty that would forever change his life. They began stealing from the rich and well off, but eventually David began to suffer from his newfound abilities. You see, his super speed is destroying his internal organs and distorting his reality. It's said that if David was anybody else, then he would actually have died instantly by donning this gear. So you could say that somehow in this shitty world, David's body is actually incredibly lucky that it's only failing him slowly. But now let's cover David and Lucy's relationship, because as a couple, it's all kinds of messed up and honestly kind of confusing. Not because the writing is weird or the storytelling is bad. No, it's because I can't figure out why it actually works so well. Like, as most of you know, normally when you meet the one, you instantly just fit together and interact like you've never been apart. Everything just seems to work itself out. But with David and Lucy, their dynamic just seems so different and their personalities are something that would normally counteract one another. But somehow it still works incredibly well. Like, as I was watching this, I could only attribute this to the aid of the intense backdrops and moments between them. Like when Lucy takes hold of his hand and pulls him along with her. It's magical in a way that the viewer feels as though they're also being pulled to another world where you know crazy shit is about to happen, but you still want to go along with it. Like I mentioned earlier that meeting Lucy changed David's life forever. And no scene explains this better in my opinion than when we see the two of them tearing away down the road. Like they are in the middle of a busy street going insane speeds and could die at any second. But it doesn't actually matter. Because in that moment David only sees one thing. He only thinks of one thing. Lucy. It's his everything in that moment, and it's beautiful to think about, because although I have this image of what true love is, this scene shows that it's something not as simple as what I imagine it to be. It's crazy, confusing, and only works when it's actually meant to work. David and Lucy is a confusing shit for the simple reason that it's about the only realist thing that actually exists in this hellscape of digital reality. Like throughout Cyberpunk Edgerunners, we see David make connections with all kinds of unique people, but none shape his world quite as well as Lucy does. Now David is a kid with no dreams or ambitions. He's currently lost in a fast world and being left further behind by the day. His whole life he tried to fill this emptiness with what others thought he should do. Like when he tried to follow his mother's wishes and join the company, or when he donned his new body like Maine. He has no real individuality of his own and only follows what he thinks others want from him. Because he doesn't actually know who the hell he actually is for himself. Which is actually the biggest difference between him and Lucy that I can make. Because Lucy couldn't actually care less about the thoughts of others and only dreams of one day making it as far as the moon. She believes in the power of dreams because she grew up her whole life being ordered by the company. She was raised a robot where dreams and ambitions were pointless, and because of that it has become everything to her. And now ultimately things do go south for David and Lucy, and David learns of betrayal, heartbreak, forgiveness and dreams in quite a short time. Like you could argue that David lived more in just a few weeks with his new gang of friends than he did his entire life before meeting Lucy. The two then eventually start some form of dating, but Lucy also makes it clear that despite her feelings for him, she feels that in the city, death defines you more than your life before. She fears that getting too attached to him will only lead to her suffering. However, despite this, David also swears to her that he will one day take her to the moon. Things then, however, go to shit fairly fast, with David learning that even despite his apparent tolerance to the implant's effects, he is almost certain to die or go insane due to them. Maine begins to lose his grip on reality, and Lucy is forced to place herself in the mind of the company official to learn the truth about his next project, which actually turns out to concern David and his tolerance to tech. The place eventually gets raided and everyone outside the two lovers die, but despite surviving and coming out better for it, their relationship actually turns to ruins. Like sure, they are living together now, and on the outside, with David now leading the gang and with Lucy by his side, they look like the cybernetic version of couples goals. But in reality, David fears that he's running on borrowed time and is about to lose his mind at any moment. And Lucy is secretly keeping the truth about what she saw from David while also going around and killing anyone who knows the truth about him and the project. This all eventually leads to so much pain, suffering and death that it's unreal to even think about. But I'm not actually going to cover all that in this video, because ultimately I think I've explained enough about the show so far that if any of you haven't actually seen it, then you can still go and watch it without being spoiled too much about what happens. So with that, I hope you all enjoyed this video on Cybernetic Edgerunners and eventually give it a try for yourself, because honestly it's amazing and worth the watch. But with that, I think that's going to do it for me in this video. I hope you have a great day or night wherever you are, and peace.